it's Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. This is our third episode of our Summer Design series. And today I am going to design in one of my very favorite antique containers. I know at home, and you may not if you're not a flower person, but if you are a flower person, you probably have that one container that's your very favorite to work with. Well, this so happens to be mine. It's an antique epern, and it has a reservoir that holds water at the base, and then it has a vase that comes up and holds water at the top. And it is such a pretty container all by itself. It doesn't necessarily have to have flowers in it. Most of the time it sits on my china cabinet with no flowers in it. But when I have a special occasion, say a bridal shower or a baby shower at church, or I just want to have flowers on my table just because I think they would be beautiful and they would make me feel better, I like to use this container. Often I will cut flowers out of my yard, and so that's exactly what I did today. I have hydrangeas blooming in my yard, and so I went out this morning and I cut hydrangeas out of my yard. And you're gonna always want to cut your flowers in the morning. The morning is the very best time to cut your fresh flowers. Hydrangeas are very water loving, and so they need to be, once they're cut, they need to be placed in water immediately. You can't leave them out of water for any amount of time. So I cut 3 blooms off my hydrangea bush. And I have been so excited this year. This is the first time my hydrangeas have ever bloomed. I've had them planted in that spot for 8 years and they have never bloomed, but this year they actually bloomed, and they are so beautiful, and I have enjoyed them tremendously. But I thought that I would cut them and share them with you. So I'm going to take my pink hydrangea and I'm going to cut it at an angle. I have taken this container and filled it with fresh water and flower food, and so it is ready for flowers. So I'm going to strip some of the foliage off. And I'm just going to tuck those hydrangeas right into the water. Now this is an arrangement, this is a container that you are going to want to arrange on site. You don't really want to have to move it. Moving it will cause the flowers. It doesn't have a really good secure base for the flowers. If I started to move it, my flowers would likely fall out because it's such an open mouth at the bottom. And so if you're going to use a container like this one, you really probably want to arrange your flowers right at home, right where they're going to be, in a place that's very easy for you to clean up. And so these are called Bells of Ireland. Bells of Ireland are a beautiful line flower. They do have small thorns on them. They bite a little bit, so you want to be a little careful when using them. But I'm going to take them and use them as some height in the top of this arrangement. And what I'm doing is I'm placing them right in the middle of that hydrangea, and that hydrangea is going to, in turn, cause you, it's going to be a grid. And of course, it's not going to stand up exactly like I want it. Bells of Ireland have these little leaves at the top. For me personally, I don't love those leaves left up there, so I pull those leaves off. It just kind of gives it a little bit more of a cleaner appearance. Now in line flower, I like to use 3s or 5. I like to use odd numbers. I don't like to use even numbers. The reason I don't like even numbers is I don't like 2 of any type of line flower, because for me it looks like antenna. And so I will come back and use a 3rd. Okay, and then I'm going to take some wax flower. I'm going to tuck a little bit of white wax flower. And I'm just kind of coming all the way around this container and just tucking these flowers in low. Wax flower has a very woody stem, and so it pops really well. So I don't necessarily have to cut it with shears. I just kind of pop it in, it breaks very easily. And so I'm just kind of tucking my little wax flower in. And then I am going to use, these are called bombastic spray roses. They are absolutely the prettiest pink I have ever seen. They are a very large-headed spray rose, and it has lots of roses on one stem that I absolutely love. Just so pretty, so full, so lush. I'm going to take those roses and I'm just going to kind of tuck them into that water. And this is one of those containers that you're going to want to put flowers all the way around. So I'm going to tuck another spray rose on the back. This is called white lisianthus, and if I were to say that I had a very favorite flower, this would perhaps be one of them. It's hard to say I have one favorite. There are so many absolutely fabulous flowers, but this is one of my favorite. I love the fact that it has these small buds that are very, very airy and light. Such a pretty, pretty flower. Lisianthus comes in white, comes in pink, it comes in purples, lavenders. Very, very pretty. So I'm just going to tuck a little bit of lisianthus in that top vase. And I'm going to also tuck a little bit in this bottom reservoir. The bottom reservoir, you'll find that it doesn't hold tight. You're going to have to cut some shorter. Now this is a garden rose. This is a pink garden rose. I am not exactly sure of the variety. Absolutely a beautiful flower. It opens very pretty and very large. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my finger and I'm softly placing it inside those petals and just kind of running it around in that flower just to open it up. You want to be very careful with the petals. Petals will bruise, so you want to be very careful. But I'm just kind of tucking my fingers down in there and opening that rose right up. And I am just going to tuck it down into that arrangement, just really tight. I'm going to take another one of those roses. See, it's already very open, but I'm just going to open it up just a little more, just kind of brush it and open it just a little more. And it's absolutely one of the prettiest flowers. So you can kind of see how I've just kind of arranged the flowers all the way around. And it's a lot like the last video that it's just kind of a mounded effect, but I'm just tucking those flowers in. And then lastly, I'm going to use Solidago, and I've said this before, I think in every video you've seen, that Solidago is so one of my favorites. And it's strictly because it's yellow, and yellow is my favorite. But I'm going to tuck a little bit of Solidago. It's just a very airy filler, and it just fills in so well. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit, so all the way around, it's a pretty arrangement all the way around. You can use this as a centerpiece. You could place it on a buffet table. You can use it anywhere you'd like. And then lastly, I'm gonna take a little bit of Elaeagnus. And this Elaeagnus I just cut out of the yard this morning when I cut the pink hydrangeas. I'm gonna tuck a little bit of that Elaeagnus into this container. And it's just gonna give it a little bit more of an airy feel. And so all the way around, I've got flowers and a little bit of foliage. Very simple, very easy to make at home. And like I said, find your favorite container. Find the container that you just absolutely love and use it. It makes you love that container even more when you put pretty flowers in it. I hope you enjoyed our video. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know. And if you have any ideas you'd like for us to share with you, we're happy to do that too. Thanks so much.